So one of the things that I wanted to test out with the oil process is how fuel generators end up functioning with regards to generating or producing power. It looks like a one times power supply will work just fine to produce more power than it's generating. But what I want to know is there are two types of fuels that you can produce with the oil system. One is a basic fuel and the other is generator fuel. I'm assuming there's a difference in how much power they end up using, since there is an extra stage that needs to be done on this, but I'd like to find out for sure. So I've set up this. Both of these are going to produce the same amount, or the same process. Both of them are generating, both of the generators are the same, all of the systems are exactly the same. The only difference will be one I am going to add fuel to, and the other I am going to add generator fuel. You're going to see how long it takes to... Now, there's going to be some delay to this because I have to turn this on, turn these on separately, so it's not going to be 100%, but so both of them should have stayed. It almost looks like there's no difference between the fuel consumption. This seems to be going down a little bit faster. No, 77. 72, 73, 72. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know if that started, if it's the delay that from the start. Okay, at 60, so, I mean, if you factor in the delays on start, these almost look like they're generating the same, or using the same amount regardless. Yeah, I don't see any... I mean, they're going to be generating the same kilowatts, but the fuel consumption seems exactly the same. Yeah. I don't see any difference between the fuel and generator fuel. So, except that generator fuel can be purchased from the shop, because if you go to power and you go up here, you've got generator fuel, which requires an extra refinery to produce. It's almost in your best interest to produce regular fuel and not generator fuel. Yeah, see, they ran out at the same time. So I don't see any difference between the two. Alright. So, judging from this, it is actually better for you to run generator, just fuel instead of a generator fuel. So, I'm going to run one more test, and that is I am going to produce separate amounts. So I'm going to have this run with fuel, and then I'm going to have this run with generator fuel. Now, there's going to be a difference in power, but since we have proved that with the same amount of power, we're going to end up using the same amount of fuel, what I am wanting to see is if this has less power requirements, because this only needs 310, whereas this needs 365. Am I going to produce more generator fuel in this setup with the exact same amount of generator fuel than this one? Because if these two processes produce the exact same amount, then there is literally no difference between the two. However, if one of these produces more than the other, there may be an advantage to running this. So let's hurry. Hope that the few seconds delay was enough. So both of them ended up starting out with 100 liters. There would have been a slight delay in how much because there really isn't much of a difference on the two. 80 liters, 81. So even from a different grid level, it doesn't seem to be that drastic of a difference. It almost looks like the only difference really was how, like, the timing between the two. Because there's no switch or anything that I can use to turn both of these on at the same time, unfortunately, so we deal with what we can. 50, 52, yeah, that difference is probably just the, so it almost looks like there's not even a difference in how much power holds. Like, the fuel consumption seems to be set at this level, not at the machine level, but I mean, there is very little difference between the two, so I don't know if that is a factor, that it's just too minuscule amount of a difference to actually affect it. Where are we at here? Let's produce 27 fuel, 27 generator fuel. So it almost looks like there is literally no difference between fuel and generator fuel. Yeah, because it's producing the exact same amount, even though there's a difference. Even though there's more machines, there's different power. So this has died. This has died. So there's no more power for this. $34 generator fuel, 34 fuel. So it has produced the exact same amount in this. So there is literally no difference between generator fuel and fuel. So if you decide that you're going to end up running a fuel-based power factory, stick with the just fuel, because it's going to give you the exact same results as with generator fuel. The only difference is if you need to prime the system, you can start with generator fuel, but after that it doesn't matter which way you end up going, whether you go to me, stick with fuel, because it's one less machine that you end up having to run, and it's what, 50 watts less. This is 310. This is 365, so it's 45 less watts to generate the same amount of fuel and burn the same amount of fuel. So yeah, pick which one you want and stick with it.